Hey guys, it's Andrew Hyatt, and I'm in the studio with 519.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of In the Studio with 519. I'm your host, Dan Savoy. This time we talked to 604 Records country star Andrew Hyatt. He has a brand new 3-track EP called the Wanderspace Sessions, and we'll learn more about that. But first, let's check out a clip from the music video for Neverland.
You'll talk about your glory days with your buddies at the bar. Be just another used to be that didn't get that far. If I was you, I'd park that truck and stay right where I am in Neverland. And maybe I'll just crash and burn and fall flat on my face. For me it ain't the finish line, it's all about the race. And I don't wanna be another shoulda, coulda been. I wanna be the one that gave it all he had. Show 'em all that you can, just like that. When I get back to Neverland.
Basically, just want to start off with talking about the Wanderspace Sessions. Obviously, at the time that we're recording this, not all of them have been released yet, but by the time it comes out, they will be. I guess the easiest question to start with is, what made you want to do these 3 songs acoustically and put them back out there?
It's kind of 2 parts. Stripped down acoustic stuff is kind of where I come from. That's kind of where I started with music. So I always like to go back there. I really missed the guys. I missed the band. Obviously, given the situation of 2020 and so far 2021, it's just nice. It was nice to be in the same room when we were allowed to be. When we recorded those, they had it had opened things up again, so we were all in masks and we were staying pretty spaced out. But yeah, it was just really nice to be back with the guys and also release something visual to go with the music, right? That's different than just the video or different than the lyric video. It's a little more real and a little more raw, which is always nice to put out.
So now Neverland is obviously your latest single, but how did you choose I Needed That and Didn't Know Me as the other 2 to put out there?
Those, they just felt good. They just felt like the right combination of 3 songs, and we've been playing them for a long time. Didn't Know Me was a single that was a previous single. So it just made sense to do those. And they also worked in that environment, being stripped down. We didn't want to do Get Away With Anything because, it's a little bit of a heavier song that was off that EP. So it just felt like those were the right ones to kind of slow down and make a little prettier.
And as far as Neverland goes, what is kind of all of our fascination with the concept of Neverland, do you think? Like, as a story, as a fairy tale, it's been so prominent in pop culture. What is it that kind of connected with you about that?
I think it represents, it sounds cheesy to say, but to me, the idea of Neverland is that place. It seems unattainable. You know what I mean? It's, whether it's in a fairy tale where that's a place that retains innocence and joy, and just this place that is so pure, which I kind of think is what we're trying to achieve when we're chasing a dream or chasing something we're passionate about. You're trying to hold on to something that's pure, right? Something that you love so much. For me, this song connected because, it sat well with the idea of, I was told many times, in high school, when my guidance counselor said, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? We need to pick courses. I said, well, I'm going to be a musician. She's like, well, that's not realistic. And I was like, not realistic for who? She's like, well, that's not a real job. I was like, exactly. I don't want a real job. I want a job I love. I don't want a day-to-day. I want to do something that I'm passionate about. And so that was that. I got fired from jobs for saying, I'm just here until I make enough money to make a record, and then I'm going to tour, and I'll take a layoff and I'll come back, and do stuff like that constantly, right? So that's what Neverland is to me. It's just that journey of taking everybody's nose and proving them wrong.
So as an accomplished songwriter yourself, how do you take these songs that are maybe offered up to you and really find a connection? What do you look for when you're picking a song to record yourself?
I to be a moment in my life that the song takes me to. If I don't have that, then I won't cut the song. It has to be something that I feel that I've gone through, that I can connect with emotionally. Uh, um, and if so, then I'll cut it. And also there's also a side of it where it's like, if it's a great song and you just can't stop singing it, you're going to take a great song. I know what I do, and I know what I don't do. So I try and get, or what I can't do as a songwriter or haven't done as a songwriter. So I try and pull those from outside songs. And then every once in a while, those lines kind of blur where I'm like, that's something that I would do myself. Like, that's what Neverland felt like. That felt like a song that I would write on my own. So it just felt very natural, and it came from a place that was really honest, growing up in a smaller town and being told, get a job in the mine and get a trade and do this and do that. So it just felt really real.
And you did get a job in the mine.
Yeah, I did, which, I learned a lot of good things from there, and I learned hard work and shift work and late nights. But yeah, I like those times. They were enjoyable. Not as enjoyable as now, but they were good times.
So how have you kept yourself creative over the last year?
Well, I think for everybody, everybody's had their moments, right? Their highs and their lows this year. But what's kept me creative is I put a studio in my basement, and I've just been really working on the fundamentals of recording, something that I've ignored for a really long time. I've always focused on like, hey, I'm gonna write songs, and then I'm gonna take these ideas, or these almost finished ideas, to a producer, and I'm gonna say, hey, here's an almost finished song. Let's kind of piece it together, because I know they're good pieces. I just can't bridge it. So, our call today, I missed the text this morning confirming our Zoom call. I literally looked at my phone at 1:01, and there was a text being like, you have a Zoom call right now. What are you doing? I'm like, got my guitar players downstairs playing guitar parts for me. So I'm like, okay, I'll be back. So yeah,
Well,
just trying to focus on music and recording.
I appreciate you taking a minute from the creativity to chat with us.
No, it's good. It's funny. Like, you get lost in it sometimes, and then you lose track of time, or you don't check your phone. You got your phone on mute, all that fun stuff, right? So
you've probably been asked this a million times, but dropping an EP in fall of 2020, how was that different than how it normally goes?
Well, I think it was probably delayed about 6 months, because the record's been done for a while, and we were kind of hoping that we'd get to be able to tour it and support the record, and go out, play shows, and kind of champion this record. But that didn't happen. So that's been different. You put a record out, and there's a lot less, but it's a lot less busy. But I kind of like the fact that it's kind of let the music speak for itself, and it's kind of, everybody's been home or been stuck at home, so people are consuming music in a stressful time, which I think helps them connect with it. So we've kind of seen that. We've seen a lot of growth, which I was kind of worried wasn't going to happen, or it was just going to kind of get swept under the rug. But I really feel like Neverland is connecting more than any other song that I've had. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like this is probably going to be the song that goes the farthest so far. So yeah.
Because a lot of people really need music right now, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with the guys. We were reading this article yesterday that said the arts is the #1 considered most non-essential job. And we were kind of joking, being like, yeah, well, if you removed all television, all movies, all music during this time, no one was allowed to have it. We took it all back. It would be like, I feel like that stat would flip very quickly, and people would be like, oh, actually, this is essential. We need it now. It's what's getting us through these times. I mean, you look at how much Netflix is being consumed, and how many movies and TVs and music, and you just go, it might not be deemed like essential to survive, but it does help people survive. So it's kind of a funny thing.
And you've actually been up to something else this year with Copper Demon. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I've always had an obsession with good t-shirts and cool shirts and merch. And even like my Andrew Hyatt merch, I always felt weird. I never felt comfortable wearing that, but I was like, man, I'm putting all this effort and money into these shirts that I can never wear. So I had this idea at the beginning of lockdown where I was like, you know what? I feel like I could make shirts that I want to wear and that I want to wear on stage, and it gives me a platform to promote them. So over 2020, I started getting these designs and collecting them, and just sort of started releasing shirts one by one, and just trying to build a brand that way. And eventually I'd like to move away from merch completely on the artist side and just kind of merge those two things together, where people know that is my merch, make it a brand, and sort of build. And it's been a fun experiment and kind of a passive income as well during a season where we're not touring or not playing music. So it's cool.
That's it for this edition of In the Studio with 519. I'm your host, Dan Savoy. Thanks to Whitney and Andrew Hyatt for that great interview. We'll see you next time.